Hi there, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel about crypto. In today's video, I want to talk about a couple of crypto gaming projects which either have a game coming up pretty soon or they have at least a token or an NFT sale coming very soon in the next few weeks. And I think they're really worth checking out. And also about a couple of NFT projects which at the moment I think are at a really good price point and are really worth considering. So even though there is a lot of fear and uncertainty in the world and some crazy stuff is happening at the moment, crypto market seems to be holding up surprisingly well. To be honest, yesterday, given the news, I was expecting that there would be a major crash. And of course we had a dip, quite noticeable dip, but it wasn't like a massive capitulation event. If we zoom out, what happened yesterday was nowhere near what we had at the beginning of the pandemic in March 2020. And well, you could certainly say that given the news, it was an event of a similar magnitude, so you would expect that the markets would react a bit more to it. There was a dip, of course, but there was pretty swift recovery. And in fact, late yesterday and today, Bitcoin and a lot of other cryptocurrencies are trading above yesterday's prices, or at least at a similar level. So this looks pretty bullish. It shows that the market is quite resilient. Of course, what will happen next is pretty much impossible to predict at this point in time, but so far things are not looking too bad considering the circumstances. Crypto fear and greed index, of course, is still in the fear territory and it was in extreme fear, hardly surprising. But today I don't really want to talk much about crypto market overall, but I want to focus on a couple of particular gaming projects and NFTs. So NFT market overall has been seeing a bit of a slowdown recently. And yeah, we had some really strong days here. Of course, there were some really big mints in the last few days or weeks. But generally, well, February has nowhere near the volume we've seen in January. So, and also what's really important, I think, is that a lot of really big projects started really pulling back in terms of their prices. So right now there's a pretty good entry point for some really big and established NFT projects. Good example would be something like the DeFi Pound. At the moment it's around 1.2, 1.3 ETH, but there were times in the last couple of days when it was trading around 0.8 or around 1 ETH. Certainly at those price levels or below, I would definitely consider getting one because it's a very solid project. Yeah, recently the roadmap and their plans and essentially the fact that they started getting involved in more and more things caused a bit of a dip in price because it's slightly less clear what the project is about. But it doesn't change the fact that it is one of the strongest brands in the whole NFT space. And I think long term it will continue doing really well. So it's pretty good entry point. But what I think it's a really good buy at the moment is neotokyo. And neotokyo outer identities dropped to 2.2, 2.3 ETH, which is an absolute steal. I bought one of those not that long ago for over 6 ETH. And at current price levels, actually, I bought another one because I thought, well, the price is just so good that, yeah, it's definitely worth getting one. In fact, it doesn't take much more than the floor price to get one of the slightly more rare green identities. Although I see that they slowly started creeping up in price. They were around 2.6 ETH only a few hours ago. And generally those higher rarities, they tend to hold value a little bit better. Not huge difference, but later on as the prices will go up, because I'm pretty sure they will, these will be worth substantially more than the most common gray ones. So definitely worth checking out. Bear in mind that if you want to get into neotokyo, you need the identity, land, and cash. So you will need actually 3 NFTs to mint full citizen. But at current prices, all 3 will cost you around 3.5 ETH. So that's still really good entry point. And even full Season 1 citizens are around 14 ETH at the moment, or from 14 ETH. And again, those were around 40 ETH or maybe even closer to 50 only a couple of months ago. So I think once the whole gaming and metaverse market picks up, I mean, crypto market needs to pick up overall, but especially once the whole metaverse and gaming narrative is fully back on, I think the value of those will go absolutely parabolic. So definitely good entry point here. But I also wanted to talk about a couple of gaming projects which are coming up very, very soon. One of them is Heroes of Maivia, which I mentioned before a couple of times. Really bullish on this one. They moved their land sale by a week or so due to the situation in the Ukraine. I think it's a very sensible decision. So now their land sale will be happening on the 4th of March. So in about 1 week or just over that. And yeah, really looking forward to this one. They're supposed to release their token, one of their two tokens, Maivia token, in Q1. So I would assume that will happen at some point in March. Then we also have another really good project, which is Undead Blocks. And this is just sort of just zombie apocalypse survival game. And whenever you kill a zombie, you get tokens. And it just looks so cool. You can play with your friends, you can collect weapons, you can then upgrade those weapons. Of course, those weapons are NFTs, so you can trade them and so on. There are 3 levels of NFTs to start with. So depending on how much you can or want to spend, you will get different amount of kit, different type of kit. But yeah, this one just looks really cool. I really like it. They have big team, fully doxed. They also have a dual token system. So one of the tokens will be in-game token, similar to what Maivia does, while the other one is like the governance token, which will be the one that you're actually using to stake and sort of transfer funds in and out of the game. So yeah, really bullish on this one. And if you look at the roadmap, they're actually planning to launch the game in Q2 this year. So, I mean, Q2 starts in April, so just over a month from now. Of course, it can be late Q2, and of course it can be delayed, but assuming that they are more or less on track, it should be out by the summer. So that's really good, because a lot of gaming projects, they are planning to release the game sometimes 6 or 12 months later. And of course, it's quite a long wait, and a lot can happen in that time, as we've seen in the recent times. So it certainly makes me bullish when the release date is pretty soon. And also they will have a token, Undead token, that will go live on Uniswap, and that's supposed to be happening in Q1. So again, that should be happening within the next few weeks, essentially in March. So yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on this one. Really excited about this. So one of the games I'm the most excited about. Check out also their game deck. There is some cool information there as well. So yeah. And then the last one I wanted to mention, or almost the last one, is Sin City, which again, I mentioned a couple of times before. The reason why I want to mention it today again is because of the overall dip in the market and the dip in NFTs. Their Genesis passes dropped to 3.5 ETH floor. And of course, this is still a lot of money, but you have to remember there is only around 400 of them. And I remember when the market was a bit more bullish, there were some really well-connected people expecting that eventually the price of those passes will hit probably around 15 ETH or more. I'm pretty sure the floor at some point was around 8 ETH or even above that. So even if you don't want to buy one right now, I would definitely keep an eye on it in case it keeps going down a little bit more, because I think this one has a lot of potential. I mentioned Sin City many times before, and they have some really strong partnerships. And yeah, it's another game that I'm really bullish on and really excited about. And also their limited blueprints, which are their cheaper NFTs, which can be like weapons and some other assets in the game. They are at a pretty good price point, around $500 at the moment. I've seen them dropping to around $450 a couple of days ago, but they tend to oscillate around sort of $450 to $600. At some point, they were, I think, around $1,200 already. And again, expectation is that once the market again picks up a bit more steam, they may hit around $1,500 or $2,000 or potentially even more. So definitely worth keeping an eye on this one. And then one last thing I want to mention, which is again a game and an NFT, is my Pet Hooligan. So the price now is below 1 ETH, and yeah, it's another project which personally I was whitelisted for this one. I minted it and I sold it way too early. I'm really gutted. So since then I've been looking at potentially buying another one. The game is coming out much later, so depending on how the market will go, the price may dip a little bit more, but definitely worth keeping an eye on this because I think this one has also huge potential to grow, and it also has some really, really big partnerships. Okay, so just to sum it up, Undead Blocks, they have their NFT sale, I think within the next few days. I think it's very, very early March, and then token within the next few weeks. Heroes of Maivia, similar thing, NFT very early March, and then token soon after that. Sin City and My Pet Hooligan, I would keep an eye on the prices unless they're already at the level you feel comfortable with. I think those prices are already pretty good, but given the current market situation, it may be worth waiting a little bit more to see what will happen. And neotokyo, well, I think that's an absolute steal at the moment, especially outer identities. And then, yeah, DeFi Pound. Yeah, I've mentioned this one many times. It needs no introduction anyway. A really solid project at really good price, so definitely worth considering. So I think that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. As always, if you have any questions or suggestions, please put them in the comment section. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.